Well, it's been 84 years. Can you believe it? It was 2019, actually, since we've been at Queensland Raceway in Ipswich. The great Tony Quinn purchased QR. He's redone the facilities, resurfaced parts of the track. I mean, it's been so long. This was before the dreaded cough hit the world. Um, we had Avengers Endgame was released. I mean, that's how long it's been since we've been at Queensland Raceway. But do you know what? We're at the Valve Bouncer. We're excited for this one. It's the end of the Sprint Cup. What? Go
And
for
we're
it,
back.
Steve. Welcome.
We are back. Welcome back.
Yes.
We're going to Queensland Raceway. Well, we're not going to Queensland Raceway, but
No.
Supercars is going to Queensland Raceway, the paperclip, the famous paperclip.
Yes.
It's kind of been missed.
It has. You know what's not going to be missed is take a shot every time Scafey talks about how simple the layout looks, but how tricky and difficult. That's on my bingo card because I was looking at some replays and some old footage, and I felt like the commentary hasn't changed since 2019 either. So we're looking forward to it. It is a good track, despite that. There's normally some pretty good racing. So it's going to be exciting, Steve.
I think it'll be pretty good. You know, the droop restriction, you got to get through turn one quickly. Braking for turn three is like paramount.
Crucial, yes.
You really want to get the right angle into the last turn to really get the exit. Yeah, all those things I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yes.
And all of it makes absolutely all difference to anything. But we are here and we're ready to go because this is finally we're ending the Sprint Cup, and I'm actually glad.
He's had enough. He's throwing in the towel. He's had enough of the Sprint Cup.
It's utter shit. Sorry, this is the part that I haven't actually enjoyed of this final system. I just feel like this particular setup is a bit weird and not quite right in my opinion, but we are here. I'm looking forward to it. So we're looking at a little bit of weather over the weekend, Damien.
We are.
We've got some rain about on the Friday and the Saturday, and then some sunny weather on the Sunday. So could be an interesting mix-up.
It could. It'd be interesting to watch as we get a little closer to the weekend. Few days to go still for us at the time of recording. But, Friday, Saturday looks like some rain. And then, it'll be sunny, which will throw a little bit of a spanner in the works, no doubt, because it's the last of the sprints, which is that 440 format. But they've listened to you, Steve. No more Friday race. No more Friday race.
Thank the Lord. Thank you, Jesus.
I think this one we booked in before you gave him the feedback, but yes, only the 2 practice sessions on the Friday.
Well, you know what's really, really scary and makes me want to take a shower is that Broc Feeney and I are in alignment with that.
Oh,
he doesn't like the Friday practice at all, Friday race at all. So he questioned it in his.
We've got him, podcast. Folks. We've got him. He's turning. He's turning.
He's turning. Quite literally. I've got another confession to make. That interview with Broc Feeney by the Apex Hunters was actually quite good, and Broc spoke well, and I don't dislike him as much anymore.
Yeah, it was really good. He needed that, to be honest, because
he did.
He doesn't convey himself in the same way during the race weekend, and he did talk a little bit about that, but it was good to see a bit more personality, a little bit better in terms of the way he talks about things, and just it was great to hear.
It was. So well done to Scotty Pye and to Ali Ababa, because I think they're doing a great job of just bringing out key personalities. And just getting them chatting just normally without any issues. So I think that's really good to see. And on top of that, The other
Yeah.
news before we continue with this, because we
Oh,
will, but the Scotty Pie on the Supercars broadcast, Damien?
I'm
Will
not
they snip
sure.
his balls at the door, or will he
Yeah.
hold on to him? Do you reckon?
I think the problem is that someone's going to come away a bit sore and sorry. I think whether it's Scotty Pie because he gets like kind of,
Clipped.
hey, rein it in, son. You can't say bad things, or
Mm.
they let him loose. It actually is the best telecast you've ever seen, and supercars have a meltdown. They don't know what to do. Like they'll be like, oh, everyone's talking about how good it was, but it's against what we want to do. No, they'll be lost if they get it right.
It, he he will provide balance to the force. So
Right.
you got two practice sessions on the Friday. We'll go
Yep.
back to the actual racing this
Yeah.
weekend, shall we? So qualifying for race 23 and 24 will be on the Saturday, and then those two
Yep.
races are 39 laps, I believe, Damien.
Yes. Correct.
And they're both held on the Saturday. And then on the Sunday, we've
Yeah.
got qualifying for race 25, a top 10 shootout, which we're doing all too often at the moment.
Yep.
And then race 25 will be a long 63 laps at the paperclip.
Yeah.
And probably, interestingly, the long race is probably the one that you want the water to come down, and it's probably the least
Yeah.
likely that that's going to happen.
Yeah. I'm hoping that the forecast is just slightly off and the weather that sometimes can hold off and end up on the wrong day.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I was a bit surprised having a look at the numbers of I saw the 39 laps. And I thought, oh, that's a reasonable stint. And then to see 63. Now I know it's not a huge track,
Mm,
but by the same token, um, 63 laps. Yeah, it has the potential to be a little boring. So fingers crossed it isn't.
mm,
But yeah, I mean, when you're talking about 3.1 k's worth of track, it's not long, but yeah, still
no.
that's a lot of laps. But yeah, it's
It is.
exciting. We've got the Sunday as its own little world, and we've got the two smaller races on the Saturday. So it should be a pretty good, I think.
Yeah, I think it should be pretty good. I mean, look, the paperclip's always given us some good racing. Like it's not, it's not the
Yep.
craziest layout ever, but we have seen
Yeah.
some good racing in the past. So yeah, we look forward to that. I mean, God, I'm just looking at the names here, like that you put up from the last results, which was 2019 of Wing Cup and Scotty Mack, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
that just feels like an eternity ago.
I know.
um,
Like
like,
it is like in the racing terms. I mean, you think like Gen
mm,
3's never been there. So I think the
nah,
home test track advantage is going to be very evident early in the weekend.
yeah,
Hopefully it should balance out a little bit, but yeah, like no Gen 3 cars have raced here. I think it's like half the field or not quite half the field, I've never actually raced there. It's going to be a bit of an unknown, which hopefully mixes up the results or gives us something exciting.
yep, that's it. That's it. Well, I guess that should mean we should move into our next part of this whole preview, Damien, and that is our predictions. Ipswich 440. So we're going to do a standout performer. We included
Mm-hmm.
this one, and I think we're going to continue with it.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have the winner. We're going to predict the winner for race 23 and the winner for race 24. We're going to predict who gets pole in the top 10 shootout for race 25, and then the winner for race 25. So, starting at the
Winner.
start, Damien, for the standout performer for the weekend, who do you think will lift their game?
Well, I think it's about time, and it feels like it should be an absolute banker because it's a home track, the test
Oh, God.
track. Uh, he is. I forgot to double check where he is. He's like 400th in the fucking champion. He's way down the list, but Will Davidson is absolutely due, and DJR are due for a bit of one. So I could see him having a pretty good round. I'm really hoping and get some results to keep him in the top 10 because really he's really just been in the top 10. He's had a couple of good performances and then some real shockers. So he's kind of my standout performer.
Well, Davo, all right. Heard it
Yeah.
here first. Going to have a great weekend. All right, for my standout performer, I've actually gone for a Melbourne-based team.
Oh,
I feel like sometimes we go to Queensland and we expect all the Queensland teams to dominate, but I've got a feeling in my loins that Bryce Forward's going to have a good weekend.
oh,
So
okay.
I think BJR have a pep in their step. The fact that they've got Toyota coming on board and everything else, so they're actually starting to ramp up. And Bryce has a real pep in his step at the moment. And I feel like he's going to have a good weekend up there in Queensland. So standout performer
Okay.
for me is Bryce Forward.
Yeah, definitely outside the little box that I would have thought, but he has been going well, and I think driving for his future a little bit,
Yes.
potentially in other teams as opposed to his own at the moment. But he's doing his best, and he has had a good run. He had a pretty good run. He was not shy of sharing a word on the V8 Supercar podcast, whatever they call that one. But
Oh
he
yeah,
was quite the chatty on that one. So
I missed that one.
yeah, it's not a bad one. They cover a few things, but he was very chatty, which was good. All
Excellent.
right,
Mm,
so that takes us to the picking our winner for race 23.
mm.
Um,
Oh, we're in
anything
alignment.
original? Any original thoughts there at all, or
No, well, it looks like we've both gone for Broc Feeney to
yeah,
take out the race 23. So
yeah.
lock it in, mate. Broc Feeney.
I'll lock it in. Broc Feeney. He is on a run at the moment.
Yeah, he
Yeah, it
is.
might be hard to kind of beat him there, but we've both gone for that. What about race 24?
For me, for race 24, I suppose I've gone for another Melbourne-based team. Matty Payne.
Yeah.
His run of late has been excellent, and I feel it's going to just continue in that trajectory. And I just feel like he's going to get a win for race 24.
Okay. There you go. I've picked Will Brown just to be on, waving my Triple Eight flag. I just think early in the weekend, I just don't see. I feel like it's going to be one of the Queensland teams, but just at the moment, Will Brown is due for a bit of a race win. And I think that if he doesn't do it, I think push comes to shove. He knows obviously the championship's over. So I think he just wants to keep himself up there for the next phase of the championship. So Will Brown for race 24 for me.
Very good, very good. So we've gone the combatants for P2 in the Sprint Cup
Yeah.
Championship. So we're against
Yes,
each other there, Damo.
we are.
And for the top 10 shootout then for race 25, I have gone for Brody Kostecki.
Oh, good
Yeah, I
pick.
think
Good pick.
being at home, I think it'll give him a bit of a pep. He'll know what to do, and should be consistently towards the front of the grid. If not, there's trouble. But
Yep.
yeah, pole position, Brody Kostecki, lock it in, race 25, top 10.
Yes, I did fleet with a few different names for this one. And then I just thought I'm just going to lock in Brock, and he's going to seal the deal for the Sprint Cup, and he's just going to have the pressure valve release. So he's just going to be like, I've got pole, I'm done. He can't lose, and so therefore I think he'll still be fast on the pole position. But for the winner for round 20, race 25, sorry, I have picked someone different because
No.
I feel a bit like your poll prediction that Brody Kostecki might just finally have the swing that he needs and get himself a race win at QR.
That would be mega. I think nobody would begrudge Brody getting another win. And not to jump the gun here because obviously we're going through Ipswich, but I've got a feeling about that 500 one at the bend that Brody might and Toddy might be quite quick there as well. So
Oh, yeah.
right, but before all that begins, winner of race 25 for me,
Yep.
Matty Payne. Lock in
Matty
Matty Payne.
Payne.
I feel like he's just building, and he just continues to build, and that team is starting to get it right. Their pit stops aren't perfect yet. They've still got a little bit of work to do here and there, but once those things are sorted, I feel like they're on. So Matty Payne, race 25 winner.
Beautiful.
Lock in all the predictions, Damien. We're locked and
Yeah.
loaded for another brutal weekend.
Yes, we are. And it's good to see you're sticking on the Matty Payne train. So well
Forever.
done, mates. Yes.
Forever.
There we go.
All right.
Yes. Well, the last part, let's kind of tackle a little bit of the news.
Yep.
There's been a little bit happening, mate. And what do you mean that we're back to the wind tunnel? What do you mean back to the future?
Well, as I said, Back to the Future Supercars heads back to the wind tunnel with all three cars in preparation for 2026. So interesting, because the original thought was that one car was going across, and I believe that was going to be the Camaro that goes across with the Supra to determine all the wind tunnel procedures. But the announcement is that they're taking three cars across, one from team, I assume one from Team 18, one from Triple Eight. So obviously Triple Eight will have to have their car ready when they go as well, and the Supra, which is obviously being organised by Walkinshaw. So big test coming up, because it'll be interesting. There's no discussion about the fact that the Mustang getting changes or the Camaro getting changes, but I do kind of feel like something might shift just quietly.
Yeah, because it is a surprise. You're right. They did call out some time ago that they've got all the data. They don't need to, we don't need to do the big expense again, and then we can track the Supra against all the data. But then suddenly, I guess two new homologation teams, a bit of a restructure from the GM side, as well as now obviously Ford backing with Triple Eight. Just feels like that there might be just some small adjustments that are being made in line with obviously bringing the Supra into that fold. So, interesting. Very interesting. It was a massive surprise that probably didn't get a whole bunch of social media talk, which was surprising. Obviously, the articles and stuff are out there, but there wasn't a huge amount of people like kind of querying it. But for me, I was like, that seems really, really strange. So we'll see what happens. I'm glad they're going to make the investment anyway, because we wouldn't want the Supra or the new homologation teams blaming the old homologation team for things going wrong. So I think it's if they can afford it, they should do it. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, Damien. Couldn't agree more. So, there was discussion that, the Ford would go to the Dark Horse car and then re-homologate. Whether that happens or not, I'm not entirely sure, but I do expect there'll probably be some small changes, possibly to all the cars, to be perfectly honest. So we'll see what happens. But the other news that just popped out really is that we both shared, I noticed on Instagram, was that Toyota has given us a teaser or a taster of the engine, Damien, the noise, it firing into life. Finally, we hear that there is an engine working.
Let's
go.
But
there are rumors around, and these are alleged rumors. Nobody actually knows, but these are rumors that they are struggling like they are with the Ford engine, because it's a quad cam to match it to that full old architecture that Chevron. So
the dinosaur needs to go. Is that what you're saying? That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm asking.
Find a modern engine, please, because
they have one. Is it the LS4, LSX, or whatever they call it? There is a quad cam V8 that Chevron. Well, guess what? Get in line, build it up, go racing, so that we can actually get these engines right. And for God's sake, give us some more horsepower.
Well, yes, I agree with that. More horsepower. And I guess the question, I was thinking about, why can't they do it? Do we know whether KRE, Kenny, just he's an expert engine builder, but has he got the skills to do the new engine? Like, is that a roadblock, or is the roadblock from the GM side where they just want to stick with what they know because it's reliable and consistent? They've got all this data. Like, it just
Yep.
feels like, that as soon as we heard that little whisper that that they're having troubles trying to contain it, it just feels like we've now got two engine suppliers that are underperforming, and along with all the problems that brings, means that two people are going to be struggling, and there's just one guy that sits in the corner going, "Yay,
All right.
dinosaurs are good! Yay! All right, let's get rid of the
It's always
push rod.
Chev.
Let's go."
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's it, right? As far as I'm concerned, they've got a modern engine. Let's put that in, right? Let's go racing. It's unfair for the other two to be all modernized, all running properly, getting hampered by old technology. It just
yeah,
seems absolutely redundant. So
yeah.
get Chev up, get them in the right spot, and go racing properly. And
Yes,
they'll probably be able to balance it easier because although the motors will probably make slightly different variable change, they'll be more consistent across the board. So,
yeah.
yep, let's get it done. Come on, Chev, get on board.
Let's
Stop
go.
being twats. Um,
Yes,
and the other thing I wanted to
yeah.
actually talk about, which we slightly talked about earlier, was the new podcast for
Oh,
Brody
yes,
and Will. And
yes, yes.
what an eye opener. It was a 2 hour start for them. Like, that was a long freaking pod, guys.
Was.
Kudos.
Yeah.
Kudos. Um,
Excuse me. If I could
but
detach my mic, there was a few mic drops in that one that was well handled. I think they, touched on the Erebus stuff. They touched on a few different things that uh, it was great. Like,
yeah,
this is what we've been asking for. We got, like, Apex Hunters do a good job. They're not the actual drivers though. No offense to Scotty, like he's a co-driver, but having people in it full time now, I just hope they can commit the time, keep it going, because
yeah.
it was sensational. And it's been a long time since I was, almost crying laughing. I was driving the car listening to the pod, and they were talking about the Race of Champions stuff with Chaz,
Oh
and
my God. How good was that?
oh my goodness, I was just laughing. Just the thought of
I
Chaz trying to go to bed early, and they
know.
scan the key and scan in, and they've got like Travis Pastrana and all these people
I
standing
know.
around Mick Schumacher, and they're like,
Yeah.
Chaz!
Oh, and then I love that they had the
Oh,
epiphany, like pretty much as they were saying it, they're like, "Oh, that
oh,
could have gone really bad."
yeah, yeah. If that, yeah, like Will's just like, imagine if that was like some couple, like
I know.
it's
It's so
like,
good.
yeah, that's maturity, right? That's
Yeah,
he did
yeah.
it then in the heat of the moment, then realizing maybe I won't do that next time.
I won't do that next time. I love that they tried to do it on Mick Schumacher and he was up and he was like, "I knew
Yeah,
you bastards were going to do
yeah,
this."
yeah.
It
That
was
was
so
great.
good. It was so
Yeah,
good. If you haven't listened to it, go check it out. It's the Lucky Dog podcast. Yeah,
yeah,
Brody Kostecki and Will Brown. It was a hell
yeah.
of a listen. And
Yes,
just for the Erebus stuff, if we quickly touch on that, because we did
yeah,
cover it quite extensively at the time of what we knew and
yeah. We
everything
did.
else. It was actually great to get a timeline and a bit of an understanding. Now they don't go into anything that's like regarding the sponsors or anything like that and whatever that fallout side of it
Yeah,
was, but it was a great timeline of how Will handled the I've got an opportunity moment where he went to mum instead of dad almost. I'm
yep,
going to go to Betty because she's a bit softer and I don't know how I'm going
yeah,
to tell Barry. Um,
yeah, yeah.
and and then Barry turning to Brody saying, I don't care if Will goes as long as you're staying. And it's
Is
sort of like this awkward moment.
oh,
So,
and just that dynamic of how the two drivers were really in sync together, where they didn't talk to what the problems were, but they said they're both feeling the same challenge, and
yeah,
and so they were kind of in alignment before with the mum and dad situation where they were kind of out of step with mum and dad a bit. So
yeah.
yeah, it's really worth a listen. It is a long one though, but it was good.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, definitely, definitely. All right. So the other
Yes.
news that I just found while we were sitting here having a little discussion is that the supercars have
Yes.
backflipped on the whole main game drivers having to start the Bathurst 1000.
So it's official.
So it's
There we
official.
go.
So
Right.
how good is that? Because
Yeah.
I just think, yeah, I just think that's so important. We just need more strategy, less involvement. Like you have to do
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
type thing.
Release the governance. Yeah. Let the
Yeah.
teams do their job. Yep.
And supercars, if you're listening, which I know you're not, but if you are, please, for God's sake, put anti-roll bars back in these cars because Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Honest to God, there's just little things that we've said it before that they took the literal sense when we were saying cars are over-engineered. We still want the drivers to be able to make the difference and make the changes on the run. We just don't want
Yes.
the engineers to have as heavy impact. And what we've ended up with Gen 3 is the engineers having all the impact, essentially,
Yep.
and with the drivers, nothing. So, yes. Moving on from there, there was something else that I just saw that I'm going to have
Yeah.
a
I've
quick
just brought
read
that up.
while we're
Is
on.
the Bend schedule has been released, so that has
Yes.
just dropped as well. And yeah, interesting because obviously the TCR World Tour is going to be there.
Yep.
Touring Car Masters, Trans Ams, obviously the Porsche Cup, and Aussie Racing as well. But the main thing is that there's 3 practice sessions on the Friday. And Saturday was followed by obviously the qualifying and the top 10 shootout.
Yeah, it's good.
A warm-up race will precede Sunday's race. I don't understand what that means there by Speed Cafe. The race is poised to finish after 102 laps or the last lap after 5:18 local time. So,
Can we
wow.
not have this?
So there's a warm-up, 20-minute warm-up before the race at 9:30. There you go. When
Yeah,
was the
that's a bit
last
odd.
time when was the last time we had a warm-up before? That
Well, I
does
guess
feel like a throwback.
it does. Like Bathurst does that. We do have the warm up in the
Yeah.
morning.
Yeah.
But other than that, I don't remember. Like, I think the last
I
time
don't
I
think
saw it was like Sandown 500 in like 2003,
yeah,
4.
it feels
It's
like
a long time ago.
it'd be good to know if someone does know, but we have
Yeah,
to go
yeah.
back and check. But like,
Maybe
yeah, it
maybe we
feels
just haven't
very
paid
foreign.
attention.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Look, it does. It feels very foreign. That's typically a Bathurst thing. So we got a warm up. So that's cool.
yeah,
That'll be a bit of a guide and allow
yep,
the co-drivers a little bit more time. The other thing that's just popped up here is that
yep.
Ford study was triggered by the Curdy V8 and James Courtney's Blanchard Racing's
Ooh.
team Mustang suffering the crankshaft failure during that Townsville 500. So when he
Ah,
blew his motor, that was the crankshaft that went. That's interesting because they got the GT3 crankshaft in it. In the case of the failures,
yes.
were blamed on supply quality of the cranks and a series of replacements taken from Ford's GT3. We're investigating the failure that happened at Townsville for Courtney. It's clearly concerning that there's been a failure, but we're not jumping to try and change crankshafts or anything wild like that at this moment. We've got a lot of balls up in the air as far as the investigation goes, and we want to make sure we go through it thoroughly from our side. Obviously, we're not the only ones who are having issues with engines and engine durability. So clearly, there could be some greater vehicle level concerns that also need to be looked at. Um,
Wow. Okay.
so sounds like
Yeah.
there's a few things happening on the back of that.
Yeah.
Right, I'm
Uh,
just having a quick. Ford's testing pre-Bathurst last year left it
yeah.
convinced the balancer was not the cause of the crankshaft issues. However, there have been reports the balancers are wearing at an abnormally high rate, which in turn can impact crankshaft life.
Right.
Right, so a few issues with the balancers and the crankshaft apparently.
So
So
what?
what I thought.
Two A new engine for the Bend and then a new engine for Bathurst to be safe is basically what supercars should allow. Then, if that's the case.
Yeah, well, that's kind
Ooh.
of. what that's feeling like. So yeah, so that's interesting. I just found that really shortly. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, some work to be done on the back end of that. Now the question, oh, actually, Triple Eight hold it. So
Oh,
what does Triple Eight
oh,
do?
wow. Yes, because Triple Eight have already started work on.
Yep,
Yes.
because no longer is DJR in control. Ford have paid them out, and it's now under Triple Eight's guide.
Okay, this will be the first test then, won't it?
It will. It will. It'll be interesting. I mean, it says Ford Performance and Motorsport Powertrains are undertaking an urgent investigation, but
Okay.
the Motorsport Powertrains is the DJR operation. So why would they be
Yeah.
still controlling it? This sounds really interesting.
Fall Guy time. Are they trying to, do a little bit of fallout because of the? Yeah. Okay. Let's not hypothesize too
Let's not
much.
let's just see what plays out on that side of
Yeah.
it. Yeah, it's oh god, there's all
Interesting.
sorts of
Yeah.
things in here. Yeah,
You need to look at
yeah.
the news a little bit more,
I
mate.
know. I haven't. I've really not looked at the news too much. I mean, there's another one here. The Team 18 marks GM deal with eye-catching updates.
Yeah, just some stickers on the building, mate. Nothing too much.
Nothing too much. Okay, so we
No.
won't worry about that one. So that's
Yeah.
a bit of a bullshit. Uh, anyway, so a few things
That's
happening, which is good.
yeah.
And yeah, so we'll see what comes of those. The other thing I wanted to talk about, it's semi V8 related, although it's a different type of V8. It's more
Yes.
Ford related than anything else. Did you see the Chris Harris, Max Verstappen, Ford Mustang GTD test day, if you
Yes.
will?
Yes. I did. I did. Obviously a big fan of Chris Harris.
Oh yeah,
Great. The way he reviews cars, the way he goes about it, is perfect.
yep,
Excuse me. But that another one, bit like the Feeney. Oh gosh, sorry. A bit like the Feeney thing.
yep,
It was great as always when you actually get the real conversations, the real questions, and Max is engaged and happy to sort of answer. Even Chris was able to like kind of in the nicest way talk about how this theory of setting the car up for him and all this stuff, like he got around that beautifully.
yep,
And you can just see that when someone who is a bit more passionate, has a bit, no offense to some of the people, but a bit more intelligence about the way they're asking the question, where they're asking it to actually understand as opposed to trying to get them to trip up and get their little snippet.
yep,
Max is a great conversation, and
yep.
it was awesome to watch. And damn, he's fast. Holy shit, is he
Shit,
fast?
that's like it.
Yeah,
Look, I know Chris will be playing it up slightly, but there were
yeah,
moments where he was like, "Whoa, shit!"
yeah,
just
yeah,
how quick Max is in a car, and it did not take him. The incredible part was it just didn't take him long. He was in the car, and pretty
yeah,
much about the third corner, he understood exactly how much
yep,
grip that car would have at any given moment, and
yep. And
it
that
was
second
just
lap was just, it was full on. Yep. it
yeah, and
was
watching it
amazing.
cover those bumps and stuff and stay
Yeah,
compliant and just like
yep,
yeah, it was incredible. It really shows you the difference between you know a hobbyist who goes driving on the
yeah,
racetrack
yeah, yeah.
versus somebody who is just at an absolute
Like
elite
professional, yeah,
level.
yep,
It's remarkable, and you can't take that away from Max. His ability to drive a race car is absolutely phenomenal.
yeah,
Yeah, but that if you haven't checked that out, I think it's on Chris's site and also on Ford's.
yes,
So go to YouTube and check that out because it's a
yep,
great conversation in an old RS 2000, I think it
yep,
is at the start,
yep,
which Chris drives, and then aboard the GTD at the end, which Max is just hauling ass on a racetrack. So
yeah.
really cool to see.
And I think maybe it wasn't shared. I'm trying to think. Did you share a reel or but it was on one of
Might have
the
been a story.
Byron's story. Yeah, we can always
Mm,
reshare that on the socials, but it is definitely worth a watch because
yeah.
I think it's called The Anatomy of a Corner or something like that. So
Yeah,
it's like
something along those lines. We'll find it
it's
for you. We'll
very
put them
good.
back up on the socials. So jump at the Valve Bounce. Probably check it up on Facebook and Instagram for you.
Yeah,
And yeah, go check it out because yeah, well worth the time to check it out.
indeed, indeed. Well, that brings us to the end of this one. Looking
Yes.
forward to QR being back, and fingers crossed either the weather or the racing is exceptional. Worst case, maybe Scotty Pie, never returns to the supercar paddock again. Let's see how it goes.
We'll see what happens. Obviously, I won't be. I won't be here. I'll be on a plane on Saturday.
Oh,
If I
yes.
head west, but we'll try and do a podcast next week from me being
We will.
remote. We'll see how that works.
Yeah.
It may just be Damien, depending on internet quality.
Unlucky
But
for everyone watching.
no, you'll be fine. But yes, let's see what happens this weekend. Hopefully, we get some, some surprise winners and stuff, and see some good
Yes.
racing. So
Absolutely,
that's
mate.
it.
All right.
Very
We'll
good.
see you all in the next one. See
See you
ya.
guys.
Bye.